Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at the amazing rare Zamazenta, and once again ask the question, yeah mate, but is it actually amazing? The answer is, yeah, actually, it genuinely could be. Our translation, of course, comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet. You can probably guess that by now, but if they're going to be nice enough to give us the translations, it might be nice that we actually credit them for giving us the translations. Seems only fair. Starting off with the basics here, we've got 110 HP, which it's the same that Zacian had. It is about what we would expect for these bigger amazing rares. Retreat cost of 2 means free retreat with air balloon, so that's quite nice. And weakness to Psychic actually does mean weakness to Zacian, the amazing rare, which does seem a little bit sad, but hey ho, I suppose it's not the end of the world, it's just a little bit sad. It does mean that all of those, well, honestly, not that many Psychic Pokemon are seeing play right now. Like, Giratina seeing play, but not as an attacker. Mewtwo seeing play, but not as an attacker. Mewtwo and Mew very much is seeing play as an attacker, but it's going to get an easy one-hit KO anyway. I suppose they can use some weaker attacks, copy some weaker attacks to get a KO, so maybe that's a thing. And you are a fighting Pokemon. Now, being a fighting Pokemon is amazing right now. You're basically hitting all the best Pokemon for weakness. You've got Pikachu and Zekrom, and Dedenne, maybe the best attacker and definitely the best support Pokemon now. And then come Darkness Ablaze, we got Crobat V, the next best, the next one that's going to be an amazing support draw Pokemon, and Eternatus VMAX, which is the next great attacker. It is a phenomenal time to be a fighting Pokemon. Yeah, you're losing Diancie, Prism Star, Boo, Hiss, etc., but you're still going to have Martial Arts Dojo to do extra damage. You're still going to have access to Karate Belt to lower your attack cost if you're behind on prizes, so I'm really not upset about that. Now, there are 2 attacks here. The first one, 1 colorless energy, 30 damage. Attach a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And if any of you think that sounds a little bit familiar, it really should. It is the exact same attack that we saw on Zacian. And I feel the same way about it here as I did for Zacian. Now, on the one hand, yes, you are accelerating energy to yourself, and that's sad, etc., because if you get KO'd, it's a waste. But on the other hand, you've got a super awkward attack cost, as is the case for all these amazing rares, and you're still doing damage while you're getting rolling here, and actually, I'm kind of digging this. It means you can genuinely get that attack going quite easily, and you're getting damage at the same time. I've never been a fan of attacks that just attach energy to yourself, because then you attach energy, but you sit in the active ready to take a hit. When you've got a second attack that's as good as this, we'll get there in a minute, and you get the advantage of doing damage at the same time, I'm kind of loving it. And there will be Pokemon, I mean, if you're behind on prizes, you can use Martial Arts Dojo to do 70 damage here, and then you're getting KOs on stuff like Hooper coming out, which I'm expecting to see a fair bunch of play. It looks really good. And if you just have a Martial Arts Dojo without being behind on prizes and a Vitality Band, then you're hitting 50, which with weakness will then get something like a Chinchino, if your opponent's already got one of them rolling. And, I mean, look, if you're behind on prizes, Martial Arts Dojo puts you to 70, Vitality Band puts you to 80. That's a one-hit KO on a Dedenne, not a Crobat. Crobat, you need to do 90 before you're hitting for weakness. So this is actually genuinely relevant. But then we go to the second attack and get really excited. 1 lightning, 1 fighting, 1 metal, 180 damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon VMAX. Oh. And we've been drawing parallels here between various cards over the last few days. This one is very much like Obstagoon. Now, Obstagoon, it attacks and then it has resistance, immunity really, because resistance actually means something in Pokemon, from basic Pokemon. Yeah, they can gust around, but they can't take out your Obstagoon. Same thing here. Yes, your opponent can go after your bench Pokemon, but they cannot go after Zamazenta. This is just made to destroy Eternatus. Like, this is just basically coming along to go, oh, hey Eternatus, how you doing? It basically means that your opponent is going to have to, and here's what they're going to do, right? They are just going to keep an Eternatus as a non-VMAX, and unfortunately they can get a one-hit KO. For 4 energy, or to put it another way, double the energy that they're expecting to be putting on an Eternatus VMAX, which means it's not going to be that easy for them, and they are on a clock, because they can't attack you with a VMAX. They can use Hooper. Hooper's going to do 90 damage, gutted, and if they don't take you down without using a VMAX, you'll just get another one next turn and win instantly. What we basically have here is a Pokemon that is hitting weakness on and getting easy KOs on all the best Pokemon in the format, most of them anyway, and getting immunity from VMAXs. It means that if something like Cinderace VMAX or Rillaboom VMAX suddenly becomes really good and popular, you're just going to be able to sit here in the active and be like, and again, they can use the regular Vs to get rid of you, but they're basically using a regular V to take one prize and then leaving the V that they don't want to have out anyway, really, most of the time, to give up 2 prizes to one of your other Pokemon. And if they don't do that, then they're leaving your Zamazenta hitting 180, and that's kind of ridiculously, amazingly, brilliantly, awesomely wonderful. And here's the thing. 180 damage isn't just good if you're hitting for weakness. Pretty much any single prize Pokemon will go down, but this will legitimately get some Pokemon V. And even things like Victini, yeah, fine, they've got 190, but then you should be playing Martial Arts Dojo. And if you're behind on prizes, Martial Arts Dojo means you're hitting 220, that's a one-hit KO on a Zacian V. See where I'm going with this? You're hitting great weakness. Martial Arts Dojo makes you hit even more ridiculous numbers than you're hitting normally, which incidentally are pretty gosh darned ridiculous. And you've got immunity from VMAXs, and you've got the first attack to help you power up. This is phenomenal. And here's the thing. This is the easiest, and I mean that sincerely, the easiest of the amazing rares we've seen so far to get the energy on. This has pretty much the perfect combo. Now let's assume you're behind on prizes, you whack a karate belt on there, and your attack cost becomes 1 lightning, 1 metal. You use Tapu Koko Prism Star to accelerate 2 lightning energy, 1 to each of 2 bench Pokemon, hopefully 2 Zamazenta, and now your attack cost becomes 1 metal energy, you attach from hand. And here's the thing, you could even start using stuff like Miss Magius with Duskstone to actually use this turn 1 going second. You could legitimately go second, and on turn 1, and yeah, you've got to give up a prize of Miss Magius, nobody really cares, you're hitting 180 and basically making yourself immune to VMAXs for the game. And if your opponent doesn't get an instant KO, then you can just manually attach and just start rolling from there. And that's before we start mentioning that you can use stuff like Turbo Patch, before we start mentioning that Porygon Z lets you attach as much special energy during your turn as you like, and that's something that can really benefit all of these amazing rares, this one included, and before we start mentioning the more awkward ways of doing things like maybe using Metal Saucer onto some of your other Pokemon, your Metal Pokemon, and then using Energy Switch to move them over. So what we're basically left with is a Pokemon that hits a phenomenal weakness, does a huge amount of energy even if you're not hitting for weakness, has an attack cost which is actually payable, and gets immunity from VMAXs, while also pretty much smashing what we assume to be the best deck by the time this comes around. I like a bunch of the amazing rares we've seen so far, but let's be super clear, I think this is better than any of the others, and I don't think it's particularly close. I think Zacian is great. I think Raikou is great. I don't think either of them is nearly as good as Zamazenta, and that's before we start mentioning how this attack cost is easier to pay. This is a 5 WASI card for me, and I don't think it's particularly close. But I would like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.